Have you ever stopped to think about that piece of paper in your wallet or those numbers on your banking app? What is money, really? It's more than just paper or pixels. It's a story. A story of human trust, innovation, and power that spans thousands of years. Today, we're going to unravel that story from the earliest forms of exchange to the digital currencies that are reshaping our world. So, grab your wallet. You won't need to spend anything, but it might help you see it in a whole new light. Let's rewind the clock. Way back, before coins and cash, we had barter. You have a chicken, I have a bag of grain. If we both want what the other has, great. We can trade. But what if you don't need my grain? Or what if a chicken is worth more than one bag? This system, called the double coincidence of wants, was clunky and inefficient. Society needed something better, something that everyone agreed had value. This is where commodity money enters the scene. We're talking about things that had intrinsic value. In ancient China, it was cowrie shells. In parts of Africa, salt blocks were the currency of choice. The Romans famously paid their soldiers in salt, which is where we get the word salary. These items were durable, portable, and divisible, making them much better than trading live animals. But they still had problems. Imagine carrying around 100 pounds of salt to buy a new tunic. Not exactly practical, right? The next big leap came around 600 BC in Lydia, a kingdom in modern-day Turkey. They started stamping pieces of a gold and silver alloy called electrum. These were the world's first coins. This was revolutionary. For the first time, money had a standardized weight and purity, guaranteed by the state. It made trade easier, faster, and more reliable than ever before. The idea caught on like wildfire. The Greeks, the Romans, the Persians' empires were built on the back of coinage. Coins allowed for complex economies, massive armies, and sprawling trade networks that connected the known world. For centuries, coins made from precious metals like gold and silver reigned supreme. The value of the coin was directly tied to the value of the metal it contained. But as economies grew, carrying around bags of heavy metal became a burden. This led to the next ingenious invention: paper money. The concept first appeared in China during the Tang dynasty around the 7th century. Merchants, tired of lugging strings of heavy coins, would leave their metal with a trusted party and receive a paper receipt. These receipts started circulating as a form of money because everyone trusted they could be exchanged for the actual coins. By the 11th century, the Song dynasty government formalized this, issuing the world's first official paper currency. Europe was a bit slower on the uptake. It wasn't until the 17th century that banks in places like Sweden and England started issuing banknotes. Initially, this paper money was representative money. Each note was a promise, a claim check that you could take to the bank and redeem for a specific amount of gold or silver. This system, known as the gold standard, provided stability and confidence. Your dollar, pound, or franc was literally as good as gold. This system dominated the global economy for a long time. But it had a major limitation. A country's money supply was limited by its gold reserves. This made it hard for governments to respond to economic crises, like the Great Depression. And that brings us to the modern era, and a huge shift that happened in 1971. That year, the United States officially abandoned the gold standard. This move effectively turned the US dollar, and consequently most of the world's currencies, into what we call fiat money. The word fiat is Latin for let it be done. Fiat money has value simply because the government declares it does, and because we, the people, collectively agree to accept it as a medium of exchange. That dollar bill in your pocket isn't backed by gold. It's backed by your trust in the economy and the government that issued it. It's a social construct, a shared belief system. This flexibility allows central banks to manage the economy, controlling inflation and stimulating growth by adjusting the money supply, a powerful tool, but one that also requires immense responsibility. For the last 50 years, this fiat system, increasingly represented by digital numbers and bank accounts, has been the norm. When you swipe your credit card or use a payment app, no physical cash is moving. It's just an electronic transfer of data, bits and bytes flowing through the global financial system. We've moved from tangible shells and metals to intangible promises and data, but the story doesn't end there. In 2009, in the wake of a global financial crisis that shook people's faith in traditional banks and governments, a mysterious person or group named Satoshi Nakamoto released a white paper. It introduced the world to Bitcoin, and with it, a new chapter in the history of money: cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin are a radical departure from everything that came before. They are digital, but unlike the numbers in your bank account, they are decentralized. There's no central bank, no government, no single company in control. Instead, they run on a technology called blockchain, a distributed public ledger maintained by a network of thousands of computers around the world. This makes them transparent and resistant to censorship or manipulation by any single entity. Think about the implications. For the first time since the dawn of money, we have a way to transfer value directly from one person to another, anywhere in the world, without needing a bank or a payment processor as a middleman. It's the digital equivalent of handing someone cash. So what does this mean for our future? Are we on the verge of a financial revolution? The potential is massive. Proponents argue that crypto can bank the unbanked, giving billions of people without access to traditional financial services a way to save, send, and receive money securely. It could make international payments faster and cheaper, and create a more open global financial system. On the other hand, critics point to the volatility, the high energy consumption of some cryptocurrencies, and their use in illicit activities. The regulatory landscape is still a wild west, with governments around the world scrambling to figure out how to handle this new technology. The story of money has always been a story of evolution, driven by our need for a more efficient, trustworthy way to exchange value. From shells representing shared belief in a community, to coins guaranteed by an emperor, to paper notes backed by a nation's gold, to fiat currency backed by our collective trust in institutions. Each step was a technological and social innovation. Now we stand at another crossroads. Cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology challenge our fundamental ideas about trust. Do we trust decentralized networks of computers more than we trust governments and banks? The answer to that question will shape the future of money. Will our grandchildren look at paper cash the way we look at cowrie shells, as a curious artifact from a bygone era? It's impossible to say for sure. But one thing is certain: the story of money is far from over. It's being written right now in lines of code, on digital ledgers, and in the choices we all make every day. What do you think the future of money looks like? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey through time, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the concepts that shape our world. Thanks for watching.